Welcome to another episode of the PowerDrift Podcast. I'm joined by Shumar, Shubhabrata, Mar. I don't know how many names does this man have, but today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, and I think it's the right time to talk about this because India Bike Week is around the corner, and the topic for today is group riding. Shumi, have you ever been a group rider?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I have been a group rider, not always by choice.
Right. I mean, I have been a group rider as well, but I think more recently I've started enjoying my rides alone. Solo rides is something that I really look forward to.
I have a better answer.
Uh huh.
I am a group rider who's still looking for his group. No, but that's not a joke. See, what I believe is group riding works best when you're with people who ride the way you do,
Exactly.
people who you know in terms of how they ride their motorcycles, how fast do they go, and what kind of things they do. And that allows you to settle in and ride like you normally would rather than ride in a way that is acceptable for that group, which is not your natural anymore. And therefore, everybody's riding in a way that they don't normally do. Confidence levels fall, mistakes happen, and we know that group ride crashes are the funniest because it's not always one guy. Usually
Yeah.
takes out a couple more.
Right.
Hopefully they don't get seriously hurt. It's more embarrassment and laughs than anything else. But group riding has issues and they need to be sorted.
Absolutely. India Bike Week is round the corner, which means a lot of these biker groups from all across the country are going to make their way to Goa. We, as well as PowerDrift, are going to be riding in a group. We had a small discussion today on the kind of things that we need to follow in order to when riding to Goa and back as well. Why don't we start off with the basics? How do you go about planning for a group ride?
Well, the first thing if you're riding in a group like PowerDrift's group is that you have to ride in a group while you're passing people in other groups because obviously we are faster. I mean, we are PowerDrift.
You need to dab on that.
Dab is this thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so this thing. No, so the first thing that you need to understand about a group, right, is that it's not the same as you on your motorcycle with luggage going on tour because the schedule is no longer your schedule. It's everybody's schedule and it has to match. Okay, so for me, the hygiene starts with when the departure time is decided as a group, then it has to be adhered to so that everybody can leave on time. There's no point in people showing up on a muggy morning, all gear, and then there's like one loser who's just never
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And when this guy arrives, his tire pressures are not right, or his chain is still to be lubed, or he's not filled up gas.
Yeah.
To me, I would like to begin a group ride, and this is what the discussion we had today. You show up in the morning ready to go. That's
Yeah.
motorcycle, rider, equipment, and bags. So the motorcycle needs to have oil, fuel, chain needs to be lubed and tight, all of those things in place.
Yeah.
The luggage needs to be sorted. You shouldn't be adjusting bungee cords in the morning. You shouldn't need to do it. It should be done when you leave home.
Right.
Your gear should be ready to go. You don't show up and say, who's got earplugs? Can I borrow a pair of gloves from someone? My zipper is broken. This is all stuff that happens the previous day. It does not happen on the day of your ride.
Right.
Yeah. Mentally, you are ready for that day's work because look at it like this. In 99% of group ride cases, a 7-hour ride will become a 10 to 14-hour ride depending on the group.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So it's not the same as usual. You are going to spend more time on the road today covering the same distance.
Yeah.
You are going to deal with the fact that people work at different paces.
Yeah.
There'll be people like me. I'm practically a military man when I'm on a motorcycle and everything runs to some sort of a schedule.
Yeah.
But there are other people like Akshay, for example, who likes to go really fast and then likes to take really long breaks.
Yep.
So if I and Akshay have to ride together, we have to resolve a way to ride which
Yeah.
works for me and works for him.
Yeah.
The more people you add, the more complexity this creates.
Yeah. I think you're getting back to group riding after how long?
No, as a journalist, you're eventually always riding in a group, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even at the Panigale V2 launch,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we all exited pit lane together, and in that sense, there was some amount of group
Group
etiquette that
riding,
had to be
yeah.
kept.
Yeah.
If you go for a launch and you have a road ride, you always have a lead and a sweep in the middle of whatever you're trying to do with the motorcycle in terms of photography or testing.
Yeah.
You're still in a group, and you do have to respect somebody who's faster than you needs to be able to get ahead of you.
Yeah.
Because as far as I can tell, no manufacturer ever gives out a trophy for being the fastest journalist on a launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope they don't never do. A, I'll never win. B, it's pointless. Two, the idea of a group ride is when more than one motorcycle is involved, period. That's where it is.
Right.
Yeah, and you need to understand it natively. So if you and I have a great sync, we ride motorcycles a lot together and we ride the same way,
Yeah.
then technically I ride the way I ride and you ride the way you ride, and it's not that much of a group ride.
Yeah. Because I remember a ride to Hyderabad when we had gone for the PD Army meet.
Yeah, it was brilliant, right?
It was brilliant. I mean, the maps were showing a good 10 hours or something from
Yeah.
Pune to Hyderabad,
Yeah.
and we did it in about 7.5 or 8.
Yeah.
That does not necessarily mean we were riding fast or going. We were doing a very steady pace, very limited time off the motorcycles,
That's
quick food breaks, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that's it.
So, funny thing, I got back to group riding. You call it group riding. More than one rider is when a group is formed, right?
Yeah.
I got back to group riding when I rode with you after a very long time.
Yeah.
And it was fun because that's where I understood your style of riding as well. That's probably where you understood my style of riding as well. And it was just a fantastic ride.
Yeah. So the thing is that group riding, unfortunately, there isn't a lot of data available which talks about the Indian situation.
Right.
So you're reading European or American content on how to ride in a group.
Right.
And there is good data in there. No two ways about that. But you have to remember a driver in Europe who's coming up on a group of motorcycles is basically going to allow you to do whatever you want to because you're vulnerable.
Right.
You're on a motorcycle and you're occupying space. They will be upset with you.
Yeah.
They'll be angry at you. But very rarely will this turn into road rage
Yeah.
or a show of force.
Right.
So you can run formations.
Yeah.
You can spend your life doing PT exercises on your bike with like a legion of drivers waiting behind you, and it's not going to catch up to you in any significant form. India is not that place. So we have to adapt what they know about group riding to what we should be doing given our particular situation.
Yeah. I think the value as well in international countries goes more to a pedestrian, then goes to a cyclist,
Correct.
then goes to a motorcyclist, and then someone who's driving a car.
100%. So you have the advantage of that structure which is taught so well and adhered to so closely to be able to have the privilege of wanting 50 bikes to do 30 kmph in the fast lane so that a photographer can get a great shot. India is not that place at all. The ST bus behind you is going to want to be in your photograph ideally because you're just taking up space and time and wasting his hours.
Right.
Yeah. So the first thing that we started riding in groups in overdrive, I think, and the first rule we made was you only need to see one guy ahead of you and one guy behind you, and that's the only rule there is. There is no question of you riding within 10-12 feet of the other guy. There's no need. In that sense, you're always an individual in a lot of space. You need to see one tail light of your group in front and you need to see one tail light behind. It's a brilliant rule. And it's not my rule. Somebody else created the rule. I think it was Bijoy's rule.
Okay.
But the idea is, if I can't see a tail light, a headlight in my mirrors anymore, I have to slow down to allow that guy to catch up. So the slowest guy controls the pace in that sense, and he's never going to get left alone.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the guy ahead has the responsibility of keeping an eye out for me.
Yeah. But I think in that case, a lot of people will complain and say that, that kind of makes the whole ride a little slow and boring. But that's the second part of being in a group. I mean, you have to be together. A group means you're riding together, you're one team.
Yeah.
You have to look out for each other and kind of figure out a way to suit everybody's riding styles.
Yeah, exactly. So tomorrow we're going to go out to Goa in a group of 16, 17 motorcycles. I am convinced that there will be people who are as fast as you or me.
Yeah.
There will be people who are like first or second year on a motorcycle, probably never been out on a highway and are riding a really small displacement machine, right? We have to take care of them, and it is the group's responsibility to go with you, which is why to me the first question about group riding is, do you really want to be in the group? Because what you are assuming and in terms of responsibility is the idea that if I have a crash, this is the group that will help me get to help.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And conversely, if this group has a problem, it is my responsibility to get these guys to help.
Yeah.
Both ways.
Right.
And that is a difficult and a very important responsibility simultaneously.
Right.
Okay, so tomorrow I am responsible for you.
Yeah.
If something...
And so am I for you and everybody else in the group.
Yeah, so you have to absolutely be sure that these are the people who you feel confident will get you to help.
Yeah.
And if one of these guys has a problem, legal, medical, mechanical, you are going to take on the responsibility of helping him out. It's a big decision to make. It's not to be taken lightly.
Yeah.
I've left group rides in the middle when I've got uncomfortable with the way things were going on. And it was for this reason.
Yeah.
I do not want to be here because these guys will not be able to get me to help.
Right.
And B, they're riding like such... When something does happen to them, and at this rate it will, I don't want to be there.
Another thing that usually happens during these events and festivals is the fact that there are multiple riding groups on the road.
Yeah.
And if you're riding a smaller motorcycle or your group's got a smaller motorcycle and there's a faster motorcycle or a faster group of motorcycles that overtake you, you tend to get into a fist fight of sort, trying to chase them down. And, it happens. It's happened in the past. It's going to happen again this time around as well. But what do you have to say to those people?
Grow up. Yeah, like the India Bike Week guys are not going to give you extra beer coupons because you showed up
Exactly.
first, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, get over it. Get on with it. I mean, and if your Enfield is faster than my Ducati, good. Damn good, man. Go for it and get to go and get it ready for me. I'm just around the corner. I don't understand why every motorcycle thing has to be about competing with someone,
Yeah.
especially out on a public road. What difference does it make?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we were having this discussion as well in the morning where Shumi gave us an insight of on how to get to Goa safely, faster, more efficiently. And there are certain rules where I'm going to be the navigator for the ride. You're going to be somewhere at the back, and there's going to be Ranjan, who's our content guy, who's going to be somewhere in the middle. We're trying to handle the group and make sure that everybody stays together in a pack. But there are going to be times where we're going to take a pee break, or we're going to take a food break, or we're going to take a fuel break as well. So you had some interesting insight on how to make it short, sweet, and efficient.
Yeah, so the thing about group rides
Yeah.
is that the maximum time you waste is the time when the bikes are stationary. It's not really what you're doing on the bike, because the average speed, if the whole group were to do a steady, like military specific 30 kmph or 50 kmph or 100 kmph is not that great. The difference is how are the brakes being taken, who are taking the brakes, and how do you use the time on the brake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first, group rides are usually about fun. So you do want to take it a little bit easy when you stop, and that's fine. My rules are very simple. If the first guy stops to fill up, then everybody stops to fill up.
Yep.
And the reason for this is, if let's say you've got 3 KTMs in the group with 10-liter tanks, one guy fills up and the other guy says, yeah, I think I'm at half tank. It means in another 70 kilometers, that guy's going to
Have
stop for
fill
gas
up.
again.
Yeah. Yep.
It's much easier to just have everybody line up, fill gas. Yeah, so I have a 20-liter tank on my Ducati. You're probably on the 210 tomorrow, and that's another 17-liter tank.
Yeah.
But that burns gas quite a bit more than mine. But all of these problems are eliminated by the idea that if the 210 stops for gas, the multi stops for gas as well. And when we get to Goa, the last thing we do is fill the bikes up again. So
Right.
that the first thing you don't do in the morning, suppose you decide to leave at 3 a.m., is go hunting for a fuel station.
Yep.
You get your first 150, 60 kilometers done in the morning in peace, knowing that you already had gas in the tank the last night.
Yeah, because I think as the day progresses as well, when the sun starts to really shine on you, it kind of starts to get a little taxing on your body as well, because you've been on the motorcycle for a few hours. The sun's shining bright. You're probably not drinking enough water if you don't have an hydro pack. So I think this is a really good option to just get 150, 60
It's
kilometers.
the same also for bio brakes.
Yeah.
Anybody decides to go for a bio brake,
Everybody.
everybody goes for a bio brake, because again, you have 20 people and they want to pee on their own schedules.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
We had one ride. I think Harley Davidson called us to an IBW ride. We didn't know at the time that we were riding with the owners group. And journalists showed up at the New Bombay place.
This is Mumbai.
Mumbai. Yeah. We got the motorcycles. I think you were on the same ride.
No, I
you
wasn't.
weren't.
No.
Ashok was George was riding my KTM.
Okay.
And primarily because he was planning to ride an Impulse, and I was like, Harley Davidson's Impulse,
Oh,
better
yeah,
to take my KTM. So he was on the KTM. And then we realized there were owners here. And the way journalists ride, because of how much we ride, is very different from how an owner rides, because they're weekend riders,
Yeah.
right? And no offense to weekend riders, but it's simply the fact that you don't spend as much time on a motorcycle as I do, so you're just not used to the activity, right? When we crossed Pune and stopped at the usual McDonald's stop at Katraj, we were 2 hours ahead of the group.
Wow.
And that's just here. We're not like
Yeah.
even gotten out of like Bombay, Pune,
Yeah.
the urban
Wow.
conurbation, as it were, right? Then we started from there. There was a huge discussion about where to stop in Kolhapur, which ultimately settled at Nipani, because Nipani doesn't require navigation. It's right on the highway.
Yep.
We stopped at that place. It's the first road trip ever where I slept with a motorcycle parked.
Really?
Yeah, because we were by that time 4.5 hours ahead of the group.
Good afternoon nap.
Yeah,
sir.
so when the first of the Harley Davidson official riders came in, and we said, look, this doesn't make any sense, because at this rate, we'll have spent more time waiting for the group than actually riding in the group.
Yeah.
And he says, do you think you can navigate to the hotel? We're like, yeah, we can. So we reached the hotel that night at, I think, 8 o'clock. The rest of the owners reached the hotel that night at 11.
Wow.
Now, to look at it like this, like the owners has a good time because they stopped and they took their pictures and they
Yeah.
did their group ride.
Yeah.
But for a journalist,
Yeah.
this is a 7 to 9 hour run. Yeah, so if you start at 5,
Yeah.
at 5 o'clock in the evening, you're already 12 hours on the road.
Yeah.
We would have reached by 3.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
2.
Yep.
Instead, we reached at 8.
Yeah. But I think in all fairness to these group riders as well, I think for them, because they do an activity like this once in maybe a year,
Yeah.
for them it's leisure.
Yes, but
Yeah.
which is why I'm saying that at that point, you need to split off the groups.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so even tomorrow when we start riding, I am new to the PowerDrift system in the sense I haven't ridden with many of these boys
So
before.
I mean, even I haven't,
And you haven't either. So if we figure out by the first fuel stop that there is a group of 6 that rides really fast and hard, and then another group of 11 that doesn't, I'm quite happy to split the group and say, you 6 go with Varun in the front and do your thing. This is where the fuel stop will be roughly. Keep a marker out for us. Leave a bike on the road wherever you can see it. And the slow group is between Ranjan and me, and we do their pace.
Yeah, I think you just said this thing about a marker, which is again a great point. I mean, usually when people pull in for a fuel stop or something, they'll pull in and, the latter part of the group, which is on the road, might usually miss out because you're not used to seeing the peripheral side of riding.
Yeah.
And that is a really good case where you put a marker, a motorcycle on the road. The last guy who probably pulls into a fuel station should have his
It's
motorcycle.
usually the guy behind you as the leader. Okay. So
right.
if you're in front, the
Yeah.
second guy is whoever the second guy is at that time is
Right.
your marker.
Right.
So you will tell him that, okay, we're making a left here. You wait here and ensure that everybody goes left until the sweep.
Yeah.
So in a group of 6, you will automatically figure out what the last bike is.
Yeah.
And once the last bike goes past the marker, then the marker becomes the last bike. So you know who it is. In a much larger group, there is an identifiable sweep. So for tomorrow, if we're riding together, I am identifiably the sweep because I am the multi with the sunlight on my motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
So that's a reference to my Bahas. So, and the idea is very simple. You give that guy a direct instruction to ensure the group does something so that you can continue to navigate. Yeah, so you say, we are taking a fuel stop here. You stop here on the side of the road and direct all the bikes in. And he will do that till he sees the sweep. And when he does that, he will be the bike ahead of the sweep. And then whoever's running second next is the guy for the next instruction, which could be, okay, we are about to come to a circle and you need to ensure everybody takes the third exit, which is effectively a right turn. It's his job to ensure that everybody up to the sweep takes the right. If I am the sweep,
then he catches up with
it's
the
my
rest.
job to positively indicate to him that I am the last bike. We are good to go.
Oh, okay.
So he can leave. It's a very simple system. It seems very complicated when I explain it like this, but on the road,
On
it's
the road,
a
it should
brilliant
be
system.
fine, yeah.
I think Anand, when he runs in Motard stores, uses the same system. I have another friend, Josh, who uses the same system. We were riding with the Adriatic Motor Tour guys in
Croatia,
the Adriatic
yeah.
in Croatia. They were using exactly the same system, where I was markers and other people from the Redliners group who we were riding with were markers at some point. It's a very effective way to navigate complicated streets, even if the group gets split off.
Right. So we have spoken about fuel stops. We have spoken about bio breaks. I think another quick addition to this will be food breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, food
So-
breaks, I think, again, consume a lot of our time because each one's got an individual preference.
Yeah.
But I think today what we decided on giving one person responsibility, we make a kitty of sorts. Everybody who's riding together in a group spends an X amount of money for water, for breakfast, for lunch.
Yeah.
And it's that person's responsibility to take care of food or water when we stop.
Yeah, so basically, if you ride in a group of 7 and you want to maintain individual bills, then the cash counter has to make 7 bills. He has to take 7 payments, give 7 times change, then you leave 7 tips. Complicated. It's much simpler for you to say, okay, everybody give, say, $150. Here's our kitty. The kitty pays for all the food along the way. And look, if 7, 8, 10, 20 people are eating, even if one guy is the glutton of the group who orders 50 times the food as the rest of it, when you get divided by 20 people,
It's gonna be
not
all
really
right.
that significant a change, right? But it does change the dynamic because you show up and it's one guy's job to ensure, oh, there's 20 people, 20 chais are ordered.
Yep.
Yeah, and if the 20 chais becomes 20 chais and 3 cold drinks,
Yeah.
it's fine. Somebody will drink those 3 extra teas. It's not really going to go to waste. Similarly, everybody, these many vegetarians, these many non-vegetarians order the vada paos and order the keema paos and you're done. Yeah, and he pays the bill. Once he realizes everybody is at the end of their meals, before they finish their meals, the bill is already paid, settled, tips are done, which means your job as the rider in the group,
It's just to get back.
get there, eat your food, chill, take your selfies,
Yeah.
do a bio break, which everybody should at every food stop anyway, get back on the bike and go.
Yep.
The more time we save doing this, the more we can take it easy on the road.
Absolutely, I think it's a good thing to. So I think in a summary, you have kind of spoken about fuel breaks, you've spoken about bio breaks, and you've also spoken about food. Now when we get
So what is
back-
left is riding.
Yeah, what is left is riding, and we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
In India, we have been on a lot of group rides. I was a part of a group before, and we have this concept of having a navigator. You have a concept of having a sweep, tailman, and someone who stays in the middle.
Yeah.
What are these roles essentially?
So the navigator's role, your role, is to set the pace for the group. So Sachin Chauhan actually put it best. He says the pace needs to be 80% of the fastest guy. So even they're not riding at their limit, but you're going fast enough to keep them engaged. But you modify the pace based on how the group is working.
Right.
So if you discover that 80% of fastest is turning out to be a pace where the last 4 guys are just nowhere to be seen, then it needs to be backed off.
Right.
And if it gets to a troublesome place where they're half an hour behind 45 minutes, then they need to be separated out into their own group, because you don't want a group ride to become a situation where the fast guys are riding out of their skin because the navigator is going so fast, or the slow guys have to ride fast, keep up with the group, and they're completely out of their depth, and they just don't have the skill to manage their speed for that long.
Right.
Because they just show up exhausted at the end of it, and what's the point of that?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, at the very minimum, you need to have the energy to go have a beer with your friends at the end, right?
Right.
What's the point of
Right.
doing all of this otherwise?
Yeah.
So the pace management is the navigator's job, and it's a fairly complex job if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep the fast part of the group and the slow part of the group happy
yeah,
and
together
in their
and happy.
comfort
Yeah,
zones,
yeah,
most
yeah,
importantly.
yep.
See, if my natural pace is say 130, that's where I work best on a motorcycle. That's where my sense of what's coming at me, reading the hazards, reacting to the hazard works best. If you make me ride at 160, I am not that efficient. If you make me ride at 40, I am not that efficient either. Your job is to make as much of the group as efficient as possible as much of the
Yeah.
time. It's complicated.
And I think if people are riding with a group for the very first time, I think in the first 50, 60 kilometers, you just need to understand how the group's behaving in terms
Yes.
of keeping distance from each other and what kind of pace the group is setting.
Yeah. The guy in the middle actually has a relatively easy job. He's a placeholder that tells you where the middle of the group is. So you may not be able to see the sweep if it's a big group especially.
Yeah.
The middle gives you a sense of how far back is this group falling, A. B, he's the circuit breaker between the front group and the second group, so that even if they get separated by a little bit of distance, you know where the pack is at roughly.
Right.
Yeah. Ideally, you're in constant communication with this guy and the sweep, but it is not always required. You can completely run this without walkie-talkies or intercoms. The sweep's job is to collect everything that is happening at the end of the group. That's the slow riders, anybody who has trouble, people who can't wait any longer and need to go now for their bio break. Ensuring everybody departs from the food place, everybody arrives and parks properly at the food place. That's the sweep's job,
Yeah.
which is why he arrives last and cleans up.
Yeah. Essentially, what that also means is if there's someone at the front who's taken a stop, the sweep has to stop and make sure
Yes.
and question or figure out what's
Yeah.
wrong or what's right and then move along with him.
Yeah.
So essentially, a sweep cannot overtake anyone.
You can if you know the group well enough.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, if you and I have been riding for a long time together and I know how you are on a motorcycle,
Yeah.
and you stop for a bio break,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about you because I know you'll catch up.
Catch up. Yeah.
So I will pull off the road, ask you saying, hey, everything okay? Say, yeah, man, I just stopped for a pee. Okay, you catch up to the group? Yeah, done. And I don't need to stop for you.
Yeah.
But if a completely new rider has stopped, then I have to ensure that he catches up to the group, or the group is aware that the two of us are really, really far behind.
Yeah.
And on a public road, you can't make big distances and big gaps. It's very
Yeah.
difficult to do.
Yeah.
So the group usually stays within touching distance of each other. It's
Right.
very difficult to not to fall out of that pattern.
Right.
But that's the sweep's job. He is your cover everything and cover all the bases guy.
Absolutely. Also, with the navigator, I think the title is a navigator, which means he should know the route really well.
Or
In
have a
case-
GPS.
Yeah, in case you don't. For me, I've been to Goa multiple times by road, and I think I know the route fairly well. When I don't know the route is when I'll pull out a GPS. But that's also a very critical part to how efficiently you can reach your destination. If you don't know the road, just pull out your phone, plug it onto a mount, and make sure you use GPS.
I'd use a GPS. I'd use Google Maps, for example, anyway.
Yeah.
And I do it constantly, even when I'm going between Bombay and Pune, which I do quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
It just gives you a sense of what's happening in terms of traffic ahead of you.
So
If there is a really long, unexpected traffic jam coming up, you can get the diversions going long before the group reaches there. Then 25 U-turns have to be pulled. Then you find a side street. The Google Maps just interrupts that process and says, hey, look, there's a huge unexpected traffic jam in front of you. You can see that dark red line.
Yeah.
And you just start taking precautions early instead of having 25 things jammed. And then somebody has the skill to make a really tight U-turn. Somebody else doesn't. And now you're in the middle of traffic trying to organize all of this. Much easier to just do it before.
Yeah. Do you believe in hand signals?
When I'm talking, yes. On a motorcycle, I don't think you really need them.
But I think there are a couple of
Solvis-
but I think there are a couple of them that really make sense. For example, if there's something that's suddenly popped up on the road, like a random dog or a random car or someone who's randomly crossing the street, I think this sign
You
is
need
something.
that sign because you're too close to the guy in front, so you can't see the dog on your dog. See, look,
Yeah.
I'm willing to believe that everybody who rides with me tomorrow on the PowerDrift ride is not blind.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to believe that they are all functioning
but
adults.
they're not skilled. I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I would like to believe that they are functioning adults who understand how hazards have to be processed, and I
Yeah.
don't have to handhold them through this.
Yeah.
Otherwise I might just bring a spoon and start feeding everybody also at the
Yeah.
food stop, because hey, I don't know how you eat. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Spotting a hazard on a motorcycle and taking precautions is basic motorcycle riding 101. If you don't know that, maybe you should not be on a group ride. You should be in the backup car in the first place. Second, the hand signal business comes from the fact that the Europeans ride in formation, and the formations are pretty close to each other, and the speeds are not high. But when you ride that close, you're also blind to lots of stuff that's happening on the road.
Right.
And the real utility of saying there's a stone in the road, or there's a cow about to enter the road, or look at that car, I think that guy's drunk, or on the phone or whatever, is the fact that you may not have spotted the hazard. I can understand that if you're blinded by the fact that there are 5 motorcycles in your field of vision.
Right.
But what I'm trying to get us to do is to spread out. I may never come closer than 30 feet to your bike.
Yep.
I might be very uncomfortable if you came within 10 feet of my bike with no intention of signaling something to me.
Yeah.
Why the hell are you so close to me if you don't have a signal to give me?
Yeah.
Yeah. In that situation, I am completely leaving all your lines of sight open. Why would I need hand signals anymore?
Sure.
So you do need a hand signal to indicate maybe I'm low on gas.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Which is usually your thumb pointed at the tank. I understand that sign.
Yep.
I understand the basic of saying we need to stop.
Yeah.
I can even understand the reinforcement saying my indicator's on, but we're making a right turn or a left turn. But the rest of it, in a single line, in a double line, we're not in nursery anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and we are in a chaotic country which does chaotic things.
Yeah.
Trying to put order because you read it on a website into that is just bad news.
Yeah.
My rule is you know how to negotiate traffic. I also know how to negotiate traffic.
Absolutely.
We are far away from each other.
Yeah.
We can see each other. You negotiate traffic the way you do.
Yeah.
And then I will negotiate the traffic the way I know best.
Yep.
So you use your skills, whatever you've got, and
you
you let me use mine, whatever I've got.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, one of us is not a complete because if I pass a car too close and make him upset, then his only way to retaliate is you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because you're still behind.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the India Bike Week riding day. A lot of these guys are not riding regularly and they're making basic riding errors. I'm not going to say it's a malicious thing or it's I'm a man and this is how large my I'm just saying this is just stupidity happening. And it's unconscious stupidity. But if your group of 16, 17 people has gone through traffic making a mess of it, cutting people up and making them upset, they are going to take it out on the next motorcycle group that
I
comes
think
along.
it's also credit that to lack of seat time, because all these guys,
Whatever.
like I said, once in a year
For
they'll
sure.
travel.
I'm just saying, think about it like this. From Bombay, Pune, maybe 600, 700 motorcycles will head towards Goa tomorrow and day after and on the morning of the 6th. Your responsibility, and it's a very serious responsibility, is to ensure that the traffic around you is comfortable with the idea of these many fast motorcycles being ridden by people who look like this down the road. Because the guy who comes next is also a representative of that same community. And if you behave well, he gets the benefit of doubt. But if you behave badly, that's the guy who's going to suffer. And this has happened. I believe there was a group from Pune. And
Last year? Last year.
2 or 3 years ago. And they came up on one of their riders being beaten up by the guys on the side of the road. And they sort of separated everybody and said, what the hell happened here? And he said there was a guy who looked just like this who messed with that vehicle. And then that guy went into the ditch and something. And he's like, hey, he's not even part of my group. And then the villagers looked at him saying, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You all look the same to us. You're wearing the same thing, the same helmet, the same jacket, the whole thing. It looks exactly the same. I don't know what the hell you're on about. I'm going to beat this guy. And he just picked a random guy out of that crowd and started to thrash him.
Oh, yeah. I think that was a part of the news as well.
My point is, what we do on the road tomorrow affects everybody who's coming behind. And it also affects your idea of what a motorcyclist is. And it's a very important thing. There are 1,000 mountain roads in India which are almost off limits to motorcyclists, primarily because of how we've behaved on the road in the past. Because we've not been considerate to the guys who live on that road, the guys who use that road for their livelihood, the guys for whom that is their daily commute. You want to get your knee down and all these kicks, that's great. Do it with consideration. Or take it to the racetrack, which is a welcome place to do this at. I'm saying the same sensibility applies to group riding as well. You have to be nice so that people are nice to you. When the first guy goes past an ST bus and waves a thank you, he's much more amenable to the idea that I will stay in this lane and let 45 bikes go past.
Yes.
But if you go past him, give him a stare, look over your shoulder and say, my way and all of this aggravation. What is his incentive to wait for the 45th bike to go through?
Absolutely.
Why the hell should he
Yeah.
give a damn? Because he outweighs you by like 1600 times.
And that is where road rage kicks in. And that's not a good thing to happen, especially when you're 45 in number.
Yeah, so my point is be nice to the people on the road, because it is imperative that they let you go, because no matter how fast your Hayabusa or GSXR or CBR is, their vehicles will kill you.
Yep.
And you will be a small red smear and a dent on their vehicle.
100%. I think I would just like to add to this fact that you said about refueling. When you're in a group and you're planning a couple of days before the ride, figure out the motorcycle which has got the smallest tank. Like in our case, it's going to be the Duke 390. Ranjan's going to be riding your motorcycle. And you say that your tank capacity, I think a safe, a safe kilometer or safe auto reading would be, or trip reading would be 180 kilometers. You still have some capacity or some fuel left in the tank, but I think 180 would be a safe cutoff. So I think 180 is when everybody should be able to make it to that distance and then pull into a fuel station. So I think figure out which bike has got the smallest fuel tank capacity in your group. 180 for us is going to be a cutoff number. As when I see 180 is when I'll pull into a fuel bunk.
Yeah. Also, Anand has a simpler rule for this. Anand says that if you're riding with experienced riders and you want to spend 2 hours in the saddle, not a huge challenge. But as people with less and less experience get on motorcycles, at an hour and a half, they're beginning to wear out their energies. So you need to give them a refresh. Let's use that productively. Let's stop for a chai.
Yeah.
If there is a chai and a fuel station next to it, let's do both. So you have to figure this part out, but you have to figure out where the energy level is at. So if you and I were riding together like we did Hyderabad, I don't stop anymore, because my stamina level on a motorcycle, given the number of miles I put down every year, is about 3.5 hours in the saddle. So I will effectively go from one tank full to another tank full on the Ducati before I need to stop.
Yeah, I think that is what we did during the Hyderabad ride as well.
And to me, I was very happy to see that you kept up with that very easily, right? But if I had started to discover that about 2 hours in, or say 220 kilometers in, you're beginning to look like your riding is becoming a little bit less smooth, we just pull off, take a 5-minute break. Like, you remember on the way back, we did stop at some point. I think it was a pee break or something. Just before the bad section. We just stopped. For 5 minutes we stopped. But that 5-minute stop is a huge refresh. It
100%.
just totally resets, gets all the bum muscles, fresh blood. You stretch your legs a little bit, move around, and that's all you need. It has to be done that fast. So you're like, walk around, like walk to the end of the room, come back, get on your bike, and let's go. And by this point, you want people to be in tune, right? We had one rider who, there's no point naming him. He would take off all his gear at the first sign of trouble. He said, we'll stop there. And he's like, Oi, and all his riding gear is off. And you're like, bro, we literally stopped to fill that guy's hydro pack.
Yeah.
It's okay, I'll get dressed again. And then struggling into gloves, struggling into jacket, put on this thing. He's taken 10 minutes of what was a 5-minute stop.
Yeah. I think it's not going to be annoying in the first go is when it happens multiple times. On like a 10-hour long trip is when it starts to really get you.
So on the Croatia tour with the Adriatic guys, I was riding with a completely unknown bunch of people except for Anand, right? And my plan was, I will always be the first guy to be ready to leave. I may not succeed at this. I might be the third guy who's ready to leave, but I will not be the 15th guy who's ready to leave. So at no point should the group think this idiot Shumi, he's always making us wait. I will not be that guy. I will not be that guy because the delays take away from the time you can spend on the road, right? So there was one day where we came up on this incredibly good looking road. We were late anyway for other reasons that day, but it was incredibly good looking. And the guide realized that we were being affected by the scenery and he just backed the
Really?
Right. So we're going through this narrow mountain road, going maybe 10, 15, 20 kmph, looking here and looking here. It was fine because our stops were super efficient that day and we had the luxury of being able to do that.
Wow, awesome.
Had we wasted time at our tea stop and our chai stop and the pee stop and the bio break and all of this, we would just not be able to do it. So my message for group riding is, you guys are good riders when you work on your own already, most of the cases, right? Be considerate to the fact that other people are not expecting groups of 18, 19, 20 people coming fast. The sports bike guys are the worst because they want to do 200 together. I mean, that's just stupid. Be considerate to people around you. Motorcycles going by that fast with loud exhausts, and you're the specialist on that, loud exhaust. People with loud exhaust going past like that.
At least it's still on the motorcycle.
It scares people.
Yeah, it does.
So you want to be considerate. Just close the gas as you go past them. The volume level drops drastically. Don't increase the shock, reduce it. A. B, be nice because they have to deal with other motorcyclists eventually. If not
100%.
today, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, the day after that. 3, when you're in a group, give yourself space. If you're uncomfortable, move positions until you're comfortable. You don't want your friend to go into the back of your motorcycle. And you certainly don't want to ram your friend's motorcycle. I mean, that's not how friendship works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So give yourself space, be nice. And when you're at a stop, remember everybody is also trying to get to the destination with as little energy consumed as possible. So you don't want to be the guy who's ordered rajma and it's still in the pressure cooker while everybody's
Yeah,
finished their
yeah.
sandwiches and they're ready to leave. Yeah.
100%.
So
yeah.
so it's a process of trying to make this as efficient as possible. And usually it takes a few outings before you settle into that pattern. But once you do, groups that move quickly and efficient, and I met a few, they are incredible to watch
Yeah.
because there's just all the fun, all the selfies, all the cigarette breaks, all the bio breaks, all the food breaks, and not a minute is wasted.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant. That's exactly how it should be.
Yeah, I think a good way to conclude this podcast as well would be this fact that we are riding to India Bike Week. We are on, say, I think about 10 to 12 motorcycles. We still have a backup of about 6 cars. Usually one of the cars will serve as a backup van or a backup car or something like that. But there have been cases where a rider has to serve as a backup car of sorts because you're carrying all the tools, you're carrying your med kit, stuff like that. Is there something that can be done to make this easier?
Yeah, I would say, for example, not everybody needs a toolkit.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to have in a group of 12, 14 motorcycles, maybe one toolkit spread over 2 bikes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You need to carry water per person. Somebody might have a slightly large hydro pack and he needs to ensure his is always full, so there's some overflow water available to somebody who runs out. Similarly, it's good to have a little bit of dry fruits or something on you. So if you get peckish, you're in the middle of nowhere, you're waiting for the group to catch up to you or something, you have something to quickly reach into the bag and put into your mouth.
Yep.
Medical kits are super important.
I think everyone should have it.
Everybody should have at least the basic kit, and somebody should have something slightly more comprehensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers our podcast for today in terms of group riding. India Bike Week is around the corner. We will see you at India Bike Week. I don't know if we have something to showcase the PD Army on the 6th. But yeah, we'll try getting something for you guys. We have some stage time. We have some really cool t-shirts. We have some really cool jerseys that you'll find at 100 kmph. And if you spot one of us in a jersey, you can come up to us, talk about motorcycles, talk about PowerDrift. We'll be more than happy to hear you guys, more than happy to have a chat with you guys. But I think IBW is going to happen in the next couple of days. This podcast hopefully goes live tomorrow. But yeah, stay safe, stay hydrated. And yep, it's going to be goodbye from me, goodbye from Shumi.
Yeah, and we do have one surprise for you at India Bike Week. We're going to reveal a completely new Varun painter there, and he will see you later.